Do you want to just walk down this way? Yeah, that's fine. How far do you want to go? Just until we feel like turning around? That works for me. I'm actually trying to find more seashells because if I find enough of those really little tiny ones, I'm going to turn them into a necklace. Look at the little crabs. Wow, they're so fast. I wish I could run that fast sideways. It's so funny how they'll just appear, run across the sand, and then disappear. Wow, it's so beautiful out here. Feels great to get out and stretch my legs. And of course, it's good to see you. Mwah. No, I had a great day. Just the usual boring work stuff. There was cake in the break room though, so that was awesome. How was your day? Oh yeah? Did you pick up your meds? Nice. What's wrong, honey buns? It's kind of obvious when something is wrong. I like to think I know you pretty well. We don't have to talk about it. Yes, I know that you love me. I love you too. Oh, of course not. I don't think you'd ever try to hurt me. Yes, I'm very happy with you. Ever since I've met you, you've added a lot of fun memories and happy times to my days. It's absolutely been worth it. You are the best thing that's ever happened to me. You don't seem convinced. That's true. I didn't know you before you started medication. And I know that was a really difficult time for you and a lot of people around you. You're afraid it will happen again? And you won't be able to stop it? You're afraid what will happen again? You think I don't really know what I'm getting into? And once I realize it, that I'll leave? Wow, that's a pretty big thing to be afraid of. You really think I'm not prepared to deal with the future? Tell me about it. Tell me about before I knew you. What was it like when you were having an episode? It was kind of a pattern. After you were fine for a while, it would still happen again. So even if you were feeling okay, there was a sense of dread that it wasn't going to last. That sounds awful. Waking up every morning and wondering if this was your last happy day for a while, that's rough. Could you tell when it was about to happen? Like, could you see any warning signs? Oh, so every time you're manic, it's like the first time you've ever felt that way? What, like you think you discovered some secret you never knew before? And it's completely different than anything you felt. That's what it seems like. So it's like all the other times you felt this way were wrong, and you think this time you actually got it right? That makes sense why no one could really talk you out of it. To them, it's just the same thing happening again, but to you, it's like waking up from a dream and thinking you've finally entered reality. Oh, definitely. It would seem like everyone's against you. If you finally feel awake and that everything is making sense for you, and everyone else is panicking and trying to stop you, it would for sure feel like they're not on your side. That's really sad, though, that people who were trying to help you accidentally just made it worse. Of course you'd drive them away if you thought they weren't listening to you. When I have anxiety, I think, oh, this is happening again, but I've been through this before, so even though it's scary, I know I made it through once, and that really helps me, because then I just know it's temporary and that it will pass. But it's not like that for you. It all seems new every time. You've even written notes to yourself for when you're having an episode. Did that work? No. Oh, because you think you just didn't know what you were talking about? Yeah, I can see that. If you didn't have medication to support you, and the people who wanted to help you couldn't, what happened? A lot of stuff. Destructive and impulsive stuff. Yeah, I remember you mentioned how many relationships were destroyed. Friends, family, partners. I can see how it would be really exhausting for some people, even if they do kind of understand. You can only say sorry so many times. Yeah. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm sorry you went through that. It sounds like a lot of people got hurt because of your bipolar symptoms, including you. But at the time, it all makes sense, right? You think you're really doing the right thing? Feels like you're finally getting on track with your life? Is it a good feeling, or no, it's still really stressful? Yeah, I could see how it's frustrating the way people romanticize that. So, what about when the mania ends? What happens then? You feel ashamed? It doesn't feel like it was you? Oh, like a stranger took over and messed up your life, then handed it back? That sounds like it hurts. A lot. Wow. I can't imagine realizing all the stuff that happened and then having to go back one by one trying to piece all the broken parts together. Oh, and people would judge you. Yeah, especially after the third or fourth time. I'm sorry, baby. It would be hard dealing with the fallout from something that feels so out of your control. Some people stopped trusting you, and that made you afraid to trust yourself. What about people who know you have bipolar disorder? Sometimes that's worse. Oh, because they blame anything they don't like on bipolar? Yeah, I could see people doing that. Dismissing your feelings or boundaries, saying you're just not thinking clearly, even if it has nothing to do with your symptoms. Thank you for sharing all of that with me. I know it doesn't feel good to talk about, but I believe you that it was a really scary time for you and the people who care about you. It's a lot to deal with. Bipolar can really take over and make you feel like you're not in control. But then you still have to live through the consequences of actions that feel like they weren't even yours. It's not fair. It's awful. Life is full of things that are scary and unfair. And I don't blame you for thinking it might cause more problems in the future. That's been your whole experience. But we're not alone in this. We have support. I know that even with your medication, you've had some symptoms push through that. Before, you didn't even know it was happening. Now it has a name. It has a list of symptoms. There's a treatment plan. We have a pretty good idea of what to expect. You're afraid you're going to hurt me? You will. I know you will. And at some point, I'll hurt you too. No, not on purpose. No, life is really long, and when you love someone this much, and you hold someone this close, it's easier to hurt them because we mean so much to each other, and we're really vulnerable to each other. I know you'd never hurt me on purpose, but we share a lot of things. And sometimes we share how much bipolar can hurt. It's really hard because it doesn't just affect you. A lot of times, it affects people around you. But that doesn't undo all the things that I love about you. How many times have you told me you feel great, you haven't been having any symptoms, and you want to try going off your meds? How many times have you wondered if you were misdiagnosed because you were feeling so good? A lot. We've had those conversations. It's like a tiny version of what you were talking about before, where you think this time it's really the truth. This time you really are feeling fine and everything else was just coincidence, and maybe you don't actually need your meds. So what happened? Did you go off your meds? No. You didn't. Why not? Because you made me a promise? You made us a promise that you would take your meds even when you felt fine, even if you felt like you probably didn't need them. That's why I'm not afraid, babe. That's why I'm not scared about the future. You made a promise to me and to yourself, and even when it doesn't make complete sense, you still keep it. It might not seem like a big deal all the time, but it is. I've seen the way you respect our relationship and how you won't risk that on a feeling you have. I love you. Bipolar can be a really scary illness. And if you were not getting treatment, or if you're being reckless with your medication, that would be a problem. But that's not you. I know you're doing everything you can to manage it. And I want to support you in that. I don't expect everything to work out perfectly. We're gonna run into new stuff we haven't dealt with before. But that's okay. We can work through it. You mean everything to me. And I trust you. I know that you'll always do your best. And that's all anyone could ask. You're right. I didn't know you before you got help. But I know you now. and I wouldn't want to be with anyone else.